Good Monday evening to you. How's everyone? It is good to see you. It is good to be seen by you. I, of course, am the one and only Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, and I hope you're having an absolutely stellar Monday, at least so far. Wheeling Dragon, good to see you. Wonderful to see you out there. Cooperative Waffles, greetings to you too. I just had a bite of pancakes myself. I can't complain. Busy Monday for the Delver. I was engaged most of the morning. We went down, my daughter and myself, my daughter representing her Girl Scout troop, went down. Hello, Light Main Meteor Key Press, greetings. We went down to the Feed the World event down on the south end of town, and we packed meals for the Martin Luther King Jr. National Day of Service. So that is what we did, and that was, I'd hesitate to call it fun, but it was fulfilling, and we enjoyed ourselves, and we stopped off at our FLGS, our comic shop around here, Gods and Monsters. If you get to Central Florida, folks, if you get into the Orlando area, for goodness sake, stop by Gods and Monsters on International Drive. Todd and Anna are the proprietors. They're in there much of the time. They have employees. They're an organization. They're wonderful people, and it is an amazing shop, and you can wet your whistle at Vault 5421, their Wasteland Fallout themed speakeasy they have in the back. It is awesome. Lux, good evening to you. Jorge, hello. But anyway, so we did that, and we stopped at a store. As I was like, okay, so if you don't know the Orlando area, International Drive is essentially, it's a long stretch of road that it's kind of the main tourist drag. I'm not going to launch into extensive history of it, but there's a ton of touristy stuff. It is near Universal Studios. It's Universal Studios adjacent. Like, part of it runs through what is now Universal Studios property. So there's a lot of unusual stores, and as we were waiting for Gods and Monsters to open, because we were up with the chickens down at the Feed the World event, we got done just before lunch, so we were sitting and dining on our repast of McDonald's, and bring the mic over here a little bit. And they were not open yet. Gods and Monsters was not open yet. So we saw a store. It was titled appropriately Anime Store. My little one, she likes her stuff from the Far East. So I said, let's check that out. I said, yeah. So we finished up chicken nuggets and quarter pounder and went in. And first of all, the shop was clean. It was nice. It was exceptionally well organized. But it was like, if you like Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, or Sanrio, they had you covered. Wall to wall, floor to ceiling. Anything else was, no. It's like you would expect. There were a couple of flat screen TVs. Like, you would expect they'd be playing episodes of anime. Nope. They were just tuned in to some streaming channel that was just playing generic pop music. And it was very kind of, Yeah, Light Main, that was, what can I say? You guys had a better day than we did. But anyway, so I did very much tourist level anime, Cooperative Waffles. Christopher Sackle, how are you? But by the time we figured that out, I was just to my daughter, I'm like, this ain't it, Jim. And she was like, yeah, no, let's, it's noon. Let's head over to Gods and Monsters, which was already jumping despite having just opened. So we stopped in, she got some stickers. I said hello to Keenan. And if you're watching, hi, Keenan. And then we bopped on home, and I crashed this afternoon. I took a nap, but, anyway, no, it wasn't even J-pop, Jorge. It was very, very sad. But you know what's not sad? This live stream is brought to you by our friends at Hellebarde Games, and Hellebarde makes the kinds of adventure they'd like to play, whether it's for Castles and Crusades for 5th edition or for the OSR. Old School is in play at the table with Hellebarde Games, and you can find them on DriveThruRPG or on their website, hellebardegames.com. There's a link below. Give them a look. Nope, not even BTS graph paper, not even BTS. But anyway, so yeah, it was a good day, except for the fact that this sweatshirt smells like a tandoori oven. So the way the meal packs work at the Feed the World event is you got filling the bags, and it's one bag as a meal, and it's like a quart bag, maybe less, I don't know. Like teaspoon of seasoning, a tablespoon of vegetables, and these are dried vegetables. It's shredded like mulch. But then you get a third of a cup of rice and a cup of lentils, and you hold the bag under a dispenser. Somebody puts the seasoning in, somebody puts the vegetables in, and somebody puts the rice in, and somebody puts the lentils in, and then you hand it down. Nope, not even that, Mercury. And so I was generally doing the bags. My daughter to my left was doing the lentils. The station diagonal to me was the rice. Right across from me was another lady doing the bags, because you tend to go fast. And to her left was her daughter, who was doing the vegetables, and to my right was a woman who was doing the seasoning. And I like I said, I smell like a tandoori oven. I got more masala seasoning on the sleeve of this. Hello, the Dave. It's good to see you. So it was that's funny, Praxis. But anyway, so yeah, that it was just a good fun day down there. And speaking of fun days, we have some fun days ahead this week. Now, if you've just recently subscribed to the show, and my gosh, you might have, we are moving on up to the east side, because I think we're at 5330 or 5345. So you know what? Let's see. Let's find out. This is the point at which I start to lose people watching the stream. Like, I start talking about like what the numbers are doing, and people are like, nope. And I'll see like the watch counter stuff. 5344 is our current sub count, which is just all kinds of awesome. 100K on the, yeah, no, that's at the rate I'm going, I will be dead before that happens. I'll be happy if we clear 6K by the end of the year. I will just be elated and over the moon if we clear 6K by the end of the year. But anyway, so if you're new to the stream, if you're one of the people who has subscribed over the course of the last few days, and you're wondering, what is it exactly that Bill does? He says he streams 5 nights a week. What role-playing game things can you do 5 nights a week for an hour to 2 hours a night? Well, we've got a news, views, and sort of stuff going on. And by the way, we're going to bring the miniature feature back. That is coming back. So, but we also have Tuesday nights, we do a live play of first edition advanced Dungeons and Dragons. We have a group of players. Anything can happen, folks. It's not some scripted thing. We don't have a writer's table. We don't have seasons. We don't have plot lines. We don't have story arcs. We could have a TPK tomorrow night. Party just wiped out. Who knows what the dice will bring? Cooperative, yeah. If you've got one, we'll talk later. So, oh yeah. I hitting 1,000 Mercury. You were around back then. I remember it was March. It was mid-March of 2022. Was it 2022 or 2021? I don't remember, but yeah, what a day that was. And so anyway. So that's Tuesday. Let's play. And folks, it is an educational experience. If you've never played first edition AD&D, and I know a bunch of you folks haven't, but if you have never played first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, come on and watch and ask questions. All right. This is not passive TV. There's a live stream. There's a chat going. Ask questions. Why did you do that? Why did they do that? What's that dice roll for? How does that work? And if someone in the audience doesn't answer you, I'll do my best to. Okay? It's not just about showing you guys, hey, we know how to play D&D. It's about sharing that knowledge with you and giving a little bit of entertainment. 30 in the stream, that's awesome. Ricky, thank you very much. Have a lovely evening at work. By the way, Ricky Maru, Thane Kyle, will be our guest next week. He will be next week. This week, so that's Tuesday night. Wednesday, I don't know what we're probably going to do an RPG deep dive. I'm probably going to select something from the classic library here. And we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive. We're going to dig into something. I will take suggestions. Now, some folks have suggested they want the Desert of Desolation or the Saltmarsh series. I don't currently have copies of those, but I will definitely take it under advisement. I'm thinking we might start the Lindor Isle series, which starts with L1 and goes all the way through, I don't know, you just said in your head, L3. No. Len actually wrote and published through Dragon's Foot an L4 and I believe an L5. So we can start looking at that if that's something you guys want to get into. Aftermath. Oh, I wish I had a copy of Aftermath to share with you guys. I wish I had a copy. Dave's always suggesting. You know what? Project Sunflower is coming. I think eventually. But anyway, so yeah, we can start deep dive on Wednesday. Thursday we have a guest, so I'm going to need everybody to behave. Go to dragonsfoot.org and start digging around. I think it's in their file section, Orbital Air. I don't have an exact link to it, but Thursday we have a guest, speculative fiction author Timothy Imholt will be here. But Tim and I are actually going to talk about espionage. We're going to talk about the espionage genre, and it's going to have a little bit of impact because, of course, on old school tabletop gaming, because the first spy genre RPG was Top Secret. TSR produced we're going to talk about techno thrillers too, don't fear not, in the Tom Clancy vein. So we're going to talk about stuff like for example, Doug Niles' Red Storm Rising was published by TSR. So we're going to have a lot to talk about. Jorge wants old school essentials. Fear not. Trust me, I got enough material. Sean Rader, hello, good to see you. But anyway, so that's Thursday. Friday, we're back for another Let's Play Friday, we're going to be doing some classic Gamma World. That's right. That's right. Back to the Wastelands with the Gamma World group on Friday. And I hope you guys will enjoy that a lot. And then, of course, next Monday, we'll be doing more of this. Next Tuesday is the 23rd. Yes. Okay. Next Tuesday, I don't think we'll be playing first edition AD&D because next Tuesday is my birthday. That's right, a birthday live stream when you can lavish me with praise and gifts. And then Wednesday, Kyle will still be gone, so we'll still be able to do deep dives. Thursday of next week, Thane Kyle will be here. And then Friday, Gamma World, and just on into the night. Whew. So that's the schedule for the coming week, guys. So I hope you will want to join us. Now, thank you, Mercury. I appreciate that. RPG. This is not a huge RPG news thing, but I just thought this was kind of fun. Let me see if I can. I'll look at something real quick. So if I do this. Okay. By the way, my sister's GoFundMe. If you're seeing that was not my initial original intent. Please, if you would consider donating to the GoFundMe. My sister had a house fire back on January 1st. They were in between insurers. They are struggling. They're struggling mightily. Her grandson's bedroom was completely destroyed. The kids made it out okay, but they lost all their toys they got for Christmas, their clothes, the room's gutted. They just got their power back and their hot water heater, which apparently was taken out too. They got that back, but if you could please, I will put the link up if you guys want to see it, but please do consider that. But right now, I want to take a quick look. I'm going to come back to studio view here because I want to. What's this on? There's a humorous little bit of news here. I just thought this was funny. Is it Magic the Gathering? So as you know, the interstitial videos that I'm doing, I've been talking a lot about. Let me see. I'm gonna have to do this. I thought this was funny, but I didn't think. There it is. It was from Wargamer. Okay. I didn't think it merited its own interstitial video. So let's take a quick look at this. This is from wargamer.net. Fan mocks Magic the Gathering AI art advert with better human-drawn version. I can bring something to the table that can't be automated, says the digital artist who poked fun at Magic the Gathering advert. A Magic the Gathering player has taken the AI art advert that caused outrage amongst fans this week and made their own version on Blender. Their aim was to poke fun at the situation and demonstrate that man-made art is still better than AI. The advert for recent Magic the Gathering set Ravnica Remastered caused consternation as it came out not long after Wizards of the Coast pledged not to use AI art. At first, the Magic the Gathering Twitter account was insisted the picture, which had strange artifacting on its dials, light filaments, and reflections, not to mention nonsensical pipes and wires, was human-drawn, but then after a couple of days, they admitted that it was AI. So this guy over on Reddit, Crunch Sand, made their own version using Blender. I mean, it's still CGI. I just think that's funny. You know, I just, it struck me funny, but I didn't think it merited its own thing. So you can dance the Wild Fandango, Mercury, absolutely. But if you guys want to check that out, there's the link in the chat. But yeah, I just thought that was amusing. That just kind of made me giggle. So there, let's get serious for a hot minute, though. I want to share something with you guys. For those of you who've been fans of the show since at least last year at this time, hey, Feifel, don't pass through. Pull up a chair. Sit down. At my age, the safety dance. At our age, it's the safety railing, if I'm being honest, Robert. But so you folks might remember last February, a chap with the handle of Bluto and a lot of other people came together to do something absolutely wonderful for me and the missus. First of all, we got to go to GaryCon. Our airline was taken care of, and our hotel rooms and our badges were taken care of. Okay. We just, any fun stuff, foods and that sort of things, we took care of myself. And because the channel had blown up in January, by March, all of that was made all the fun times happen. And of course, your super chats and everything else. So we had a lot of fun. And to boot, he really is. He really is. It gets better, Mercury. To boot, it wasn't just that. He sent me to a football game. Now, those of you who may not know this, I will tell you this now. I am, from the age of 5 to today, which would be almost 50 years, a huge, huge Alabama Crimson Tide fan. When I was a kid, we lived in Alabama. We lived not more than 2 hours away from the stadium where legendary Alabama coach Paul Bear Bryant would coach home games. Never got to go to one. We were not particularly well off. If the money was there, it was needed for other things. The money usually wasn't there. So I never got to see Bear coach a game. And we moved to Florida in 1980. Bear retired in 83 and passed away just a few months later. A few weeks later, really. And over the course of a few seasons, many seasons, for about... I should say that they had some up and down seasons. They did win another national title with a coach named Gene Stallings, who's a great guy. But then in the 90s, they just kind of started to fall apart. They were just a once upon a time team. That changed in 2007 when a man named Nick Saban was hired to coach the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, if you're a college football fan and you're not an Alabama fan, you might not like Nick Saban. You might rather despise him because he turned Alabama football for all 17 years. 16 of the 17 years. The 2007 season wasn't a championship season, but he basically turned Alabama into the evil empire of college football. Joyless murder ball is what we called it. We beat conference rivals by 60 points sometimes. 54 Mercury. But I would love to hear Wheeling Dragon. I would love. Please keep us updated. Well, Coach Saban retired last Wednesday. I was in the middle of my live stream with Kyle and some folks from who there's that thin Venn diagram crossover of D&D nerdiness and Alabama football. And I had some folks like messaging me in chat and on Discord, have you heard the news? And I was, that coffee cup on the shelf is decoration. The Dad Joke Pro coffee cup? No, I've used this before. I'm just not using it right now. But anyway, so Coach Saban retired. And on the football forum where I first met Bluto, we were sharing our thoughts. His daughter posted a very heartfelt video about her love for her dad and his love for being the coach at Alabama. Bluto shared a bit of the story, and I say a bit of the story, about being able to arrange the game, you know, for me to be up there, and how special it was because we didn't know it at the time, but it was Coach Saban's last season. This is back this past October. And I said, this is, in a nutshell, I was like, Bluto's not telling you guys the whole story. And I talked about Gary Kahn, and I talked about going to Lake Geneva. And now we come to the point. Where I sincerely hope that I can leverage the little bit of whatever it is I've got here to do some good and to pay something back into the universe. A fellow posted in response to that, I don't really interact with this guy on that forum much at all, that his son has a serious cardiac condition. And one of his friends, one of his cardiac buddies, as he called him, who lived in Chicago and would often travel to Lake Geneva, that he passed away 10 years ago. And so this fellow told me that he helped create a pediatric cardiac care foundation in Lake Geneva. And that's when the gears started to turn. I am friends with a wonderful, I'm friends with lots of wonderful people. I am fortunate enough that they call me friend. But one of my friends is Paul Stormberg, whom we have had on this show several times. Paul is an endless font of D&D lore and knowledge. You guys who watch me, like, I get called on streams a lot. Like, I was over on T-shirted Historian stream. Hi, T-shirted. Hi, Grim Jim. Thank you very much. I get introduced on shows a lot of times. Bill Sylvie is a Dungeons and Dragons scholar. He knows more about D&D. You know, he's forgotten more about D&D and TSR lore than I have ever. I am the kid in the dunce cap in the classroom that Paul Stormberg teaches. Okay. I haven't a scintilla of the knowledge Paul does about D&D. Yes, Robert, the Gary Gygax memorial guy. One of the things that Paul has done in Lake Geneva is to create an event called Dragon Days. Now, it is a 2-day. It's a fantasy gaming Ren fair. And he expected at the first one maybe 75, 80 people. They had over 300 people show up, I believe he said. And one of the stories that Paul told me about that was he got an email or a letter, I don't remember which it was. He got correspondence back from a family that had driven up to go to it. Their daughter, 6 years old, autistic, very much just super, quiet and shy. The morning of, because Paul had asked, can we build a fence or a temporary fence? Can we put up a temporary fence around the park where we're going to do this? And City of Lake Geneva said, absolutely not. You would need more permits and it would take longer to do. So he said, fine, can we put up hay bale barriers? And they said, absolutely, you can do that. And so as Paul was musing this, he said, can we make a hay bale maze? And they said, sure, you can do whatever you want. So they very quickly made a hay bale maze dungeon, and groups of kids could go through and find little treasures and so on. And Paul's daughter and other volunteers were leading parties of adventurers through this maze. This little girl, who was super shy and very much, kind of closed in, went on the hay bale dungeon crawl that Paul's daughter led. And they were like, it was like it was like somebody flipped a switch. Mercury, you are absolutely, never tell D&D people you can do whatever you want. Don't ever do that. You're right. So she went on the D&D adventure and had a fantastic time. I sat back and I started thinking about what I'd found out from that fellow Bama fan. And I don't really want to say that X is going to happen or Y is going to happen, because I haven't heard back from the Bama fan yet. But guys, this was clearly a sign from the universe that here was a chance to continue to pay back for the awesomeness that I got. So I am going to do what I can to connect the Bama fan and to connect Paul and see if they could do something, see if Dragon Days could do something to help this pediatric cardiac foundation in Lake Geneva. It is my sincere hope that that's something that'll happen. I will tell you guys when I know more, because honestly, this is a moment. This is a moment where we could, we could see something really amazing happen, and I hope it does. And it all goes back to what Bluto did. It all goes back to what Bluto did. And in stepping into the back into the forum, I don't use the forum much anymore because it's owned by a media company called Vox, and their rules got like weird and restrictive, and I didn't like them. So I stopped posting there mostly. And he said, hey, I posted up about the trip in the thank you Coach Saban thread. So I went over there and read it. And I went over there and read it. I didn't that kind of slurred together. I went over there and read it is what it sounded like I was saying. I went over there and read it. And I was like, hey, I want to tell the whole story. I mean, you think about the dominoes that have got to fall, the gears that have to mesh perfectly. Here's, Bluto decides to post up in that thread, which is ostensibly about farewell Coach Saban, thanks for 17 awesome seasons, about sending me to Alabama. Then he decides to tell me about it. Then I decide to come in and post up a bunch of nerdy stuff about going to Lake Geneva. And then I hear from another poster that he has ties. So he's good people in spite of his continual mistreatment of Popeye. Yes. So that's where we kind of find ourselves. And I will let you guys know what I find out if you want to know. So I wanted to share that with y'all. I don't know what, if anything's going to happen yet. Something really awesome, I hope. But I'll let y'all know if y'all want to know. I'm just going to, like I said, I'm not here saying, hey, this is about to happen, guys. There's an opportunity here to do something good. And I truly hope it comes to fruition. So that said, I will let you guys know when I know. And if you're going to be up in Lake Geneva, if it comes together and you're going to be up in Lake Geneva and you can get down to Dragon Days, then for goodness sake, let's hear from you. So anyhow, and speaking of Paul, that dovetails nicely into something else. I have been posting on Twitter, D&D 50th. Every day I've been posting up facts about D&D. I've been so busy today I haven't done it, so I'm going to have to try and cram it between the end of this video and my 1E game that I'm kicking off at 9 o'clock. Oh, Mercury. Well, your nipples explode with delight. But anyway, so my suspicion for a long time was that D&D dropped like for sale in January of 1974. There is a lot of evidence, and I'm like 99% certain that I have heard from Heidi Gygax that it was February, that it was early February when Dungeons and Dragons started shipping out. Paul has concatenated some letters and postcards between Dave and Gary, and has heard stories from like Dave McGarry, the guy that did the Dungeon board game, and so on and etc. That it was early February. So now I don't think it's super duper important, but a lot of people have latched on to it being January 26th. But the indication seems to be that it was actually President's Day for various reasons that I don't want to go into right now, just because it is some deep inside baseball. Does it matter to you guys what day it was? I mean, honestly, if the boxes had been taken to the post office on December 31st, 1974, it's still went out, and it was still 1974 that it went out. It doesn't super matter to me. I'm not so orthodox as to insist that no, it had to have been January. Had to have been January. But what's his name? John Peterson thinks that it was January. But all the evidence Paul's got says that it was early February. Again, this is like an Eastern Orthodox versus Western Protestant celebration of Christmas. It's the same holiday. It's on a slightly different day, and we're not gonna get our shorts bunched up. Robert, you got to share us pictures, buddy, if that happens. Hello, Dungeon Minister. I was just talking about ecumenical arguments, and there's the Dungeon Minister. Not ecumenical, ecclesiastical arguments. That's it. Not unless those first boxes were numbered or somehow different from later runs. No, and I think the day it might have mattered if someone else produced something like it the next day. No, that's not the case at all. So, yeah, it's I just genuinely think it's just kind of a, you know, just sort of whatever. The concept. It's the bishop. Dungeon Minister knows what I'm talking about. The text, Vic. Don't read the text. So anyway, that was kind of an because when I called Paul, when I had this idea, and I reached out to Paul, and I was like, by gosh, if we can make this happen, I gotta connect you guys together. If he reaches back out to me, can I give him your contact info? And he's like, yes. By the way, Dungeon Minister, did you know some Apocrypha has it that the Annunciation happened with the appearance of a 6-foot dead black sphere? That's right. It was a sphere of Annunciation. Oh, I bet that hurt. I'm going to hell for that. Oh, anyway. So other D&D topics I wanted to touch on. I thought this was something that was a little too much to go into. YouTube comments is such a terrible place to try and have a conversation. Because it's like, you know, somebody says, well, you know, I love this song. And you come back, I know, right? And they're like, I know, right? Yeah. But of course, you're not sitting there live messaging each other. Yeah, I'm sure there's something in the Old Testament about me needing to be bashed in the head with a rock for that. But you know, so you'll post a message like, let me tell you something. Years ago, maybe 10 years ago or more, I made a comment on a video, a very sweet video with puppies or something. I made the comment that just again underneath the video, I said the smartest thing we ever did was letting the wolves sleep in the caves with us. Because it was a very sweet video, and you know that's kind of just a thought on dogs and their goodness in general. That comment has gotten 17,000 likes and hundreds of responses, and every now and again it's died down quite a bit, but every now and again I'll see a response, and I'll just be like, "What nonsensical!" And I can't read the thread anymore. So I wanted to I wanted to address. Someone had asked me about I talked about disliking barbarians in a recent live stream, and I want to explain now. We've done a deep dive on Unearthed Arcana, and I've talked about barbarians. This is why I don't like the Unearthed. I don't dislike barbarians in general. I think they can be just as much a part of D&D as anything else. You know, my fighter prefers light armor, and he was born on the steppes under an open sky, and squanders a small fortune and is a mercenary. So you're going for Conan feel, right? Exactly. Okay, all right. So yeah, your character's rough around the edges. Barbarian type. No, not Bobby. So I that's fine. I feel like the barbarian class in AD&D is so wonky. It is so utterly wonky. Look, a barbarian is it is a social thing. I don't think it's a class. Classes is something you aspire to from your normal life in AD&D, Think about the fighter in AD&D. They're called a veteran. At first level, they're referred to as veterans. They're referred to as veterans because they were in the peasant levies for at least a season or two. But I dislike the idea that you're born, brought up, and raised up in system A, and then you decide you want to be a barbarian. You want to join the barbarian trade. You want to join the barbarian profession. I don't like it. And I feel like that's what the barbarian class does. I feel like it is incredibly mechanically fiddly. I get XP from breaking magic items. That to me is as disruptive as, my character's a chaotic evil assassin in a party of ostensibly good characters. I don't dislike the concept. I like how it was created. I mean, off the cuff, I won't sit here and try and create a barbarian class just because I don't think there should be a barbarian, quote unquote, class. I feel like I just feel like being a barbarian is not what you are, but it's who you are. You can have a fighter and describe yourself as a barbarian. You can have a ranger and define yourself as a barbarian. I mean, Conan had good woodcraft, or bushcraft rather. Conan had great bushcraft. Would I go so far as to say you could be a barbarian who was a paladin? Maybe. I mean, if you're adhering to all the strictures of being a paladin, and you say, well, my character's from a Conan-esque barbaric setting, okay. I just don't like the mechanics, and I don't like the idea of becoming. It goes back to me, like, to the race as class thing of OD&D and basic D&D. He was. That's right, Cal. He was. Michael Mertig, greetings. Good evening. So I guess that's just kind of where I am. And that's why I dislike the barbarian. I don't like special barbarian abilities. I feel that stuff fighters can do, rangers can do, thieves can do. It really muddies things up. And I guess that's it. I guess that's why I don't care for the barbarian. Well, thank you, Jorge. Make barbarian berserkers again. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there are berserkers in the monster manual, the people kind, not the Fred Saberhagen von Neumann machine kind, which is probably good for all of Dungeons and Dragons. Well, what was the meme? Local man identifies as a Roman because he too would like to be destroyed by Goths. Visigoths. So yeah, I seen them Goths, Ostrogoths. They're Goths, but they're vicious, tall, flightless birds. But anyway, I hope that clears it up. I mean, even you're absolutely welcome to disagree with me. You're absolutely welcome to disagree with me, but that is why I do not like the barbarian class in AD&D. Mercury, have you ever read The Difference Engine by Gibson and Bruce Sterling? That is William Gibson and Bruce Sterling. Evening, Yang and Zhao. I was on such a Gibson kick at the time when I heard that another William Gibson book was coming out, and it was being written with the other godfather of cyberpunk, Bruce Sterling. I was hype about it. But good Lord, did that book do zero for me. Also, I blame the rise of horrible, horrible steampunk on that book. So Charles Babbage designed an electrical semi-automatic but largely analog computer. You know, it would have been cogs, punch cards, everything. It would have been massive. It would have been a huge computer. And he said, well, we could run the government of Britain with this. When he named some astronomical amount and said it would take, you know, a long amount of time to build, and his quote unquote demo model difference engines sometimes didn't work well, so they passed on it. But the difference engine says, okay, but what if they did? What if the English government funded the difference engine and it was successful? How would that have changed society? And the book deals with some intrigues. It deals with a dangerous set of punch cards because they contain a set of notes, I think they called them. That was essentially a computer virus. It had already been run through the French difference engine, the French governmental difference engine, and damaged it irreparably. So the government of France was basically rocked back on their heels because their difference engine wasn't functioning properly. Like, so, and I know that sounds real entertaining, but it was not. It was a strange book. It was a really weird book. But anyway, somebody was saying Gibson's Sprawl stuff was excellent. The Sprawl related stories in Burning Chrome, Neuromancer, Count Zero, and Mona Lisa Overdrive, all quite excellent books. I was elated when he came out with a post-cyberpunk novel that I thought was very in the vein of I can't believe I just went blank, Snow Crash by Bruce Sterling. Virtual Light, and then Idoru, and then All Tomorrow's Parties. By the time I got through with All Tomorrow's Parties, I wanted to throw the book across the room because I felt like Gibson was kind of bending himself up his own behind to huff his own farts. Because the main character, Lainey, just came across as, well, Lainey is my self-insert, except I'm like Lainey, but just a little bit smarter. And I did not like it, Sam. I am. So yeah, I feel like, and I realize you can't keep writing the same stuff, right? I mean, the world has moved on past cyberpunk as a genre, unless you want to go like the retro route. And say, okay, but what if CRTs and floppy disks and all that sort of stuff just continued out, and do like an alt history. Yeah, I'm sorry, passerby. Yes, I meant Neil Stephenson's Snow Crash. My apologies. My sincere apologies. Snow Crash is a great novel. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend that you read it. Something else I highly recommend you do, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're watching it later, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about Barbarians, about Snow Crash, about charitable organizations, about my schedule, whatever. No, I think Snow Crash is like Neuromancer. It's just going to be in development hell forever. So, I'm just kind of catching up with y'all's comments here. I don't have my reading glasses on, so I kind of got to squint a little bit. But yeah, tomorrow again. So the new format, like if you've been following the show all along, as many of you have, I just want to get right into our live stream games. So there's not going to be a bunch of, like, oh, we'll do an hour of show, or we'll do 30 minutes of show, or we'll do 45 minutes of show. We're just jumping straight into the games now, which I think is what you guys enjoy. Yeah, crossed would that you couldn't. No. Mm-mm. James, I don't like Bavaria. No, I love Bavarian cream donuts. I was a huge X-Men fan back in the 80s, but I don't know anything about that particular cartoon. By the time it came out in the 90s, I really didn't care about cartoons on TV anymore. Yeah, that's right. Not even a reboot. Freakazoid. I liked Freakazoid on the WB. But I do know that it's like they're going for the same animation style, cleaned up. Obviously, you want 60 FPS these days, right? But the visual look, and they're picking up, like the last episode just aired right before the start of the new episode. So we shall see. We shall see what happens with that. By the way, if you want some dumb fun, look up Harry Partridge's Starbarians on YouTube. Speaking of, if you like animation, so as someone said, the Dave, check out Harry Partridge's Starbarians on YouTube. You will laugh. It's fun. Unfortunately, there's like 5 episodes spread across 11 years. So he does it mostly himself, like hand-drawn animation cells himself. Barbarians. You guys are having too much fun with that. Oh, what about the rest of you guys? Anybody doing any fun, interesting gaming this week? Any cool stuff going on? As I said, I will. We've got the 2 live gaming sessions this week. Got some fun time to fill Wednesday and Thursday night. There you go, Dungeon Minister, the Beer Barian. I'm all about that. You're going to be watching that after this stream. That's awesome. And if I didn't mention this already, if you haven't already, please do click the subscribe button and click the bell icon for notifications. It's super duper helpful. So I want to wrap up. I want to share this. I threatened to do this earlier, and I'm going to do this now. Let me see here. Hello, Thor. You're late. But anyway, so let me explain this. What's going on here? I'm going to put this link down there. Oh, it's nice to see it's gone up a little bit. As I said, on January 1, there was a fire at my sister's house, an electrical fire. It would be horrible under normal circumstances. They were in between insurance. I have already gotten them some of these funds. I've been able to get to them. I didn't realize this initially, but like you can start sending people funds as soon as funds start coming in. It just takes a little bit. But if you can share this link out, guys, just take a screenshot, send it to people. If you can donate, do donate. If you can't, I understand. But please don't come back and say, oh, I can only do this, or all I can do is share it. I'm so sorry. Guys, you don't have to apologize if all you can do is share it. It wouldn't have gotten to almost $4,000 without folks just sharing. So seriously, thank you everyone who's gotten it to this point. They've gotten the they've gotten much of the funds so far. They've been able to get, and these go straight to them. Like, I'm not managing this. My sister is the one who is able to take out the funds and use them as she needs. So please keep boosting the signal. They still need help. Like I said, they got their power back. They got some groceries. They got their hot water heater. And they still need extensive repairs for the kids' room and gifts for those poor kids. So if you can do that, I thank you all very, very much. So very, very much. And with that said, I think you guys have gotten way too silly. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up then. I've had a lot of fun hanging out with y'all tonight, though. Thank you all for coming back. Tomorrow night, first edition AD&D. And then, of course, Wednesday night, we're going to do a deep dive. I think we're going to start looking at the L series, and I'm excited about that. The Lindor Isle series. And we got other stuff happening too in the future. But until then, everyone, I know a lot of you guys are where it's cold, and if you're cold, they're cold. Please bring your owl bears in. Peace.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around. Some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle way off course? Naked as a toad all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to